Hey guys, welcome to another episode of VTEC Academy. You're about to get schooled. All right, we're here with our 07 Civic. We got the motor in with our nifty new mounts. Everything works pretty good. We're going to start doing all the hookups today. I got a list here. Clutch line, radiator hoses, heater hoses, the booster vacuum line, fuel line, and battery tray, axles, accessories, belts. So we're going to get an accessory belt that fits both the idler pulley and the power steering pump, depending on what you have. We're actually going to try and put power steering in this with hydraulic power steering. So we'll see how that works out. Intake, I have a stock intake. We'll put that in there. I need to find a MAF sensor though. The ground wires and charge harness. So that should get us most of the way there, and then hopefully, exhaust. Yeah, so probably try to do some of the exhaust as well. Let me add that to my list.
Do you have stock exhaust?
You have stock. Did you ever change yours on your car yet? Yours 2012.
Yeah.
Not gonna work. I have an 06 Civic header, like a old DC Sports one from when we built a car for Honda in 06, 05. But I may have a stock one too, so we'll have to look. If we've got a stock one, to get it running, I don't care if there's no cat, just to get it running. But to drive it, I want a cat on it.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look, see what we got. Okay, so anyway, first things first, we took a look at the clutch line. We're going to try and use most of the stock clutch line, but we do have the hard line that comes off this 2012 cylinder. It comes up to a particular point. We've got a bracket that came on the stock motor. It doesn't quite fit. Do you think you can modify that so it works?
I believe so.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you do that, and I'm going to go try to buy some accessory belts. So here we go. So I made a trip down to the local O'Reilly's, and I found this belt right here. It's 7 rib, and it's 51 3/8 inches long, which the 508 is typically what I consider a 50.5 inch belt, but it says down here 50 3/8 inches long. Anyway, I going to test fit it here, see if it works. Now, I don't know if you've seen those really long wrenches that have the ratcheting end on them. They're super nice for putting on tensioner. I don't have one. So I'm going to use, I don't know if you've ever seen my quick tip on this. I'm going to take 2 wrenches, put them together, use that to get my leverage. And there we go, built on. That part number again, Gates Micro V K070508. By the way, this is usually 50 inches and 8/16. And this right here is 1,291 millimeters. Now it shows here that it's slightly longer than that in the parts thing, but I think that's actually more accurate to what size it is. Make sure you connect your ground wires back up to your car after you take it off. This one is one that's over here on the driver's side, shock tower. I had to remove a little tab that hung out that is directional because of the flange washer I'm using that comes with a Hassport kit. It's not really set up for that. It's kind of universal, so it doesn't have all the different configurations you can do. This side, this locating tab actually sits into keeps the wire aiming in the right direction on the body work. So, and this comes up to the engine mount and attaches to the flange washer. So again, make sure you put those in there. Many times I've seen people try to start the car without the ground wires in there, and then usually what will happen is the starter wire will seek ground through the throttle cable if it's a throttle cable car. On this particular car, this of course is a drive-by-wire car, so there's no other way for the ground to get there, so it'll send juice back through the ECU. You don't want to do that. Yeah, you mean shorten it?
Yeah, shorten it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shorten it and it should be fine. We could have ordered one from Honda. They're only about $7, but we're already here. AD is pretty good with metal, so what I had them do was rebend the bracket a little bit. We mounted it to our flange washer, and then when we installed it, we made sure we sandwiched our ground wire in between the bracket and the flange washer because we needed to put the ground on this side too. We could have added a second flange washer, or had we got the stock bracket, we probably would have taken the ground wire, put another flange washer on the back, and attached it there. It will reach back there, but I like the way it turned out, and should be no tension on anything, and got it done with minimal amounts of work. By the way, in order to bend it, straighten it out, and everything like that, you actually use the press brake to do some work on it. At home, you're probably gonna have to use a hammer and a vise. We can go purchase some SI heater hoses, and of course those will work just fine, but I'm gonna try and again reuse what we already have. These are the heater hoses that came on the stock engine. I think that with some creative trimming we can get them to work, so we're just going to try and put these on, see if that works. Let's see if it'll reach the, this one goes to the bottom. Not even. All right, so we're going to reverse the direction of the hoses. Not reverse the water flow direction, but reverse which hose goes where. Here, go ahead and cut it right there. Yeah. What did I say? I can't remember what I said now. That one goes. So this one is going to go like that, and then we'll trim it. I think we'll trim right there. Yay, now watch clamp not be big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a bigger clamp. All right, so I made sure I ordered hoses for the car so that we would have those because radiator hoses are next. And apparently I got the wrong ones.
I hate when that happens.
These look like they are for the R18 motor, not the SI motor. So no radiator hoses this time around. Not a huge deal. We can put those on after we do everything else, but kind of a pain in the butt. Anyway, send these back to Honda. Get the right ones. All right, what's next? Axles. Let's do some axles. All right, so for the axles, what we're going to try and do is put some R18 axles in it. Who knows, they might be the same size. Honda tends to reuse engineering. That spline is definitely the right size for the intermediate shaft. Hopefully that's the right depth for the K-Series transmission. I suppose I should probably get a K-Series axle and double check that, but let's just try it and see if it works first and see what's up. So start with the intermediate shaft side. Huh? There you go.
Yeah.
Did you get your fingers?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm surprised.
Oh, that went in?
Yeah, or I'm just surprised that it looks like it's gonna work.
Hey, it might work, yeah. So what we're going to do now is measure them to see if they're the right length. Basically what you want to do is you want to try and get the axle parallel with the ground. You may want to lift up because it's got stuck springs on it, but we'll give it a try. We should be able to get enough information off of it. Right there?
Pretty parallel.
Pretty parallel. All right, so the proper way to measure an axle is once you get it so the axle's more or less parallel for the ground, you want to push the axle all the way and compress it completely. Looks like it's pretty compressed, unfortunately. Let's try it. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's compressed all the way. Now what we want to do is we want to take a measurement from this surface to this surface right here and see what that is. It's about 70 thousandths of an inch. That, by the way, is well within a spec to work. As long as it's within a 1/4 inch, either protruding or recessed, that's going to work. So good news, our right axle is going to work as is. Can we be so lucky with the left axle? I don't know. All right, I decided actually to check something out first. This is a B series axle. This is a K series axle. Check out the difference here in the height. See how the K series is deeper? People have tried putting B series axles in their K series car and it doesn't work because this spring clip doesn't engage. It winds up popping out all the time. But I've still seen people swear it works and it doesn't work. Anyway, before we put this R18 axle in, if it's the right size, I want to leave it in. But if it's not deep enough, it's going to pop out and I want to know. So the moment of truth. Here we go. It's the right length.
That's what she said?
That's what she said.
Well, if it engages, if it's the right length, we got a match. Well, believe it or not, this one actually looks a little bit short. Let's take a measurement. Ah, 0.28.
Hasta luego! Arrivederci!
Now, granted, probably will work, but it's on the border line of being too short. So in a pinch, probably gonna work. I'm gonna go and leave it in here because I'm not really planning on driving this car around a lot. And actually, I'm gonna look through my stack of axles out there and see if I can't find an SI axle, because I don't know if I've ever taken them apart. So I may actually have the correct axle in here, but I think for the purpose of firing the car up, we'll be able to use this axle in here. I do not recommend driving around on that axle. It's gonna be a little bit too short. It may cause a problem. So close, so very close. It's interesting, if you made an axle that was, let's say, 1/8 of an inch longer, you could actually have it work for both the SI, the K20 power car, and the R18 power car. And interestingly, that's one of those things, and an axle builder may have already known this, or O'Reilly's may have the same part number for both those axles, and that may be why. So this may be one of those things where down the comments section, somebody comments, oh yeah, we've been doing that for years, you know, putting these axles in. So interesting. But right now, so you got an SI, right axle goes out, you can get one on any R18 car that has a short axle on its side. I'm not sure if the automatics have an intermediate shaft. Yes, they do. They have an intermediate shaft as well. So you should be able to use it on whatever, you know, any 2006 to 2011 right-hand axle or SI, R18, either way. And this one would kind of work, just it's about 30,000, you know, beyond ideal, but might work. Next is shift linkage, and let me kind of show you what we got here. This is the stock linkage right here. It is really close in length to the other one, although there are a few differences with the links on this end. I suppose it's possible you might be able to use it, but you'd have to make a new bracket to sit on top of the transmission in order to do that. So not everybody's got that fabrication ability, so maybe not a good idea. But this is the one for the SI. You can tell, by the way, because it's got heat shielding, because the catalytic converters behind the engine rather than in front of the engine. And here are the shifters, by the way. They're essentially the same. They're very, very close. The main difference when you look at it here is the length of that. And that basically makes it work like a short shifter. So you're going to have a slightly shorter, crisper shift. I think the main reason you do that, though, is because of the left and right travel. When you have a 6-speed transmission, you're going to have more right and left movement. And if you had a longer shifter, that's going to mean you're going to have to reach further over in order to do that for some right and left. But you could legitimately use the stock shifter with the SI cables, and it will work, no problem. But I happen to have one for the 06 Civic. I have the cables. Let's put them in the car. Hey, so by the way, when you're taking these out of your car, these kind of lock in place. This runs up against a nub, and then you'll notice once you click them in place, they don't come out again. There's actually a little tab in here, right there. I just went in there with a hook tool and hooked that up, and then I was able to twist them to get them out. So just kind of a tip on how to get them out when you need to get them. Also, when you put them back in, there's this metal bar that comes down off to the left side in the tunnel. This cable goes on the left side of that bar. So the other cable comes up to the middle.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, this is my header. This is a DC Sports 06 Civic Si header. I actually don't think you can get them anymore because they're not OD or CARB legal. In fact, I'm just going to put this on basically to get the car fired up. I'm not going to drive around like this, although I'm thinking I might just whack it right here, put on one of the ball couplers, put a cat in here, and make it into a catalytic converter exhaust. I think that'll actually be pretty good, easy to do. I will look around. I did find an 06 cat, but I don't think I have the header pipe, but I might be able to find that as well and use that. My plan is not so much to drive this car on the street, but I have a hybrid Civic. I would like to convert from hybrid to K-series power, and I do want that to be legal. So that's going to become my new daily driver. Anyway, and that project will be after this project. So let's put this in here. There we go. Can you reach on top for the nuts, or do we need to put bolts in? All right. Thank God you're tall. This header actually has seen quite a bit of abuse. It ran on my CRZ, which was supercharged, and actually had 375 horsepower. So this header was able to support 375 horsepower the way it was. It was a bit hot though, and kind of trashed the flex fitting. But like I said, I'm gonna put a ball fitting in there. Yeah. By the way, that's one of the problems with the race headers. They're so long, and with the flex fitting back here, any slight movement in the engine actually usually winds up having the header make impact with the firewall. If you look at the way Honda did their Type R motor, they actually put the flex fittings up where the pipe comes from 4 to 2. So it's actually a lot closer to the engine. And the key to getting it to not make contact is put your flex fittings as close to the engine as you can. But we don't have, well, if I put a stock one in, I'm good to go. But I am going to try and move my ball joint up here in front of where this flex joint is, and hopefully that'll work. So, all right, we got the header in, got the cables in. Anything else I want to do underneath here? Got the axles in. Let's go ahead and tighten up all the suspension, and then we'll drop it down. We can tighten up the header and then install our shifter. There's probably a way to get this in here without taking the console off, because I actually got it out without taking the console off. I pushed the cables up too far and disconnected them, and then so probably would have worked, but there's only 4 screws it looks like to hold take the console out. At least that's what we think. So we're going to try taking that out. So that allows us access to the sides of the shifter so that we can easily twist the cables into place. There was one little electrical connector we had to disconnect to get it out, but let's set that in. There's actually a kind of a square shape to it that you just slide it into the slot, and then once you get it in, you can twist it up against this clip and it'll snap in place. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle.
There we go.
Okay, so we didn't get quite everything done I wanted to get done on the car, but we're spent 4 hours on the car.
Yeah.
By the way, it always takes a lot longer when I'm trying to explain it to everybody. Anyway, we'll get back, fuel, some vacuum lines, and notice a few things about the wiring. I'm going to go ahead and address those as well. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us on another episode of VTEC Academy. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll get back to this in the next couple days here and see if we can't wrap it up.